G'day guys, my name's Marky, and welcome back to some more stories from Reddit. With that said, sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and let's get right into it. Cheers. My girlfriend has spent the last 3 years telling me that men and women can't be friends. She now has a guy friend. How do I show her that she's being hypocritical? Posted by LeftMix9688. I, 28 male, have been with my girlfriend, 37 female, for 3 years. Our general dynamic is that she's very opinionated and has a very black and white perspective of thinking, especially when it comes to generalizations, i.e., men and women cannot be friends, whereas I'm more laid back and I try to pride myself on being objective and seeing the gray area. My entire life, I've been able to connect better with women as opposed to men. Most of my closest friends have been women. I've been introduced to many romantic partners, or have even met some of my exes by associating with these friends, but I have never dated, pursued, or even thought about pursuing any of my actual friends. When I met my girlfriend, I was working in a restaurant and was very close with a few of the servers. We'd go out for food and drinks, hang out alone, and keep in contact outside of work. My girlfriend, being very insecure, absolutely hated this. We would constantly fight about the fact that I had female friends. There was one friend in particular that she absolutely could not stand. I'll call her Jess. I cannot even begin to tell you how many god-awful horrible fights there were over Jess. I was constantly accused by my girlfriend of being in love with Jess, only being with my girlfriend to bide my time until Jess was single. At one point, I was even accused of being the father to Jess's aborted son. Holy shit, your girlfriend sounds like a horrible person. Get rid of her, OP, you deserve better. That's genuinely insane to say. What is wrong with her? I'm not exaggerating when I say that I was constantly harassed and interrogated every single day by my girlfriend about Jess and I's secret relationship. Jess did turn out to be a bad friend, and we stopped talking 2 years ago, and then it was another friend that my girlfriend didn't like. I still have to listen to my girlfriend rant about Jess and I's secret relationship, by the way. This entire time, I am sent God only knows how many TikToks about how men and women cannot be friends. I am constantly told about men and women that she knows in real life cheating and being cheated on with their friends. I am constantly told that if she ever has a guy friend, I should be worried because she's only friends with guys that she feels some kind of way about. After a solid year of being constantly harassed by my girlfriend about every non-lesbian in my life, we came to a compromise. I will not add any women on Snapchat. I will never hang out alone with another girl. After negotiating from if a girl is there, I shouldn't go. Even though she initially agreed that it's okay for me to add friends and colleagues on Facebook and Instagram as long as I actually know them, she still stalks my friend list and interrogates me about any new woman that may be on there. At this point, I started working in a more male-dominant field, and while I still have to listen to her speculate and accuse me of being in love with whichever random woman I work a shift with, it's usually just a sly comment and only occasionally a full-blown argument. About a year ago, my girlfriend confesses to something sus. The day my grandmother dies, she tells me that she was talking to her ex-situationship. This guy was a real piece of shit, and when he had reached out to her previously, I gave her my blessing to talk to him and get closure. The only catch being that they don't meet up, and she saves all the messages between them because she deleted everyone's messages off her phone. He asked to meet up with her and suck him off. I had to argue with her to block him because she doesn't like to block people, and she finally relented. So I was obviously upset because why was he unblocked? Her excuse was she unblocked everybody and he messaged her. Oh no! Dear Lord, she is the Wicked Witch of the West. That's as far as I'll go for now. That's weird, but okay. Let me see the messages. She deleted them. Now I'm pissed and emotional from the fact that my grandmother just died, and we get into a fight, and I demand that she blocks him again. She says she did. The next day we go back to my place, and I've already moved past it, until I playfully reach out to grab her phone, and she rips it out of my hand. She gives me about 3 bullshit reasons as to why she did that, and then finally tells me it's because she didn't block him yet. At this point, I'm furious. I feel betrayed. I feel even more upset because the night before she made another cheating accusation because it was suspicious that I was watching her place a DoorDash order on my phone, and here she is actually doing something sketchy. I ultimately compromise again and get over it. So fast forward to about a few months ago, my girlfriend has settled down quite a bit in regards to the whole cheating thing. I mainly associate with men now. There are women that I work with, but we're not close. A seldom few are added into the abyss that I call my Facebook friends list or my Instagram followers, never to be interacted with. I am still accused of collecting women as backups. My girlfriend starts a new job at a hotel. She immediately connects with her manager, a guy I'll call Jeff. Jeff has a girlfriend, but apparently spends his entire shift pining after my girlfriend and shit-talking his girlfriend. He stays late on her shifts to help her, quote-unquote. Their friendship progresses from the point of her calling him off the clock to come into work and solve issues at their job, to him getting a job at the sister hotel and just going to my girlfriend's job to hang out with her. He calls her when he's bored, but not when he's around his girlfriend because she doesn't want him talking to my girlfriend. He has openly admitted to her that he has a crush on her. She doesn't see a problem with this at all. What worries me is, my girlfriend has a history of cheating. She cheated on her last partner, but claims that it wasn't a real relationship, so it doesn't count, despite the fact that they were both in an exclusive relationship. She also does not want me interacting with this guy at all. I made an effort to introduce her to Jess and any of my other friends. I told her that at any point in time, she could talk to Jess about our friendship. I am still not allowed to have any women as friends in my life. Out of anger, and in an attempt to get her to see the hypocrisy, I told her if she has a guy friend and she's going to break the rules that we have for friends, then I should be able to have friends that are women. She pretended to agree, but it then turned into, "Oh, so which girl do you have in mind? And who are you going to run to?" Which then resulted in a fight. I have no idea how to proceed. I'm considering breaking up with her, but I feel I might be overreacting. I'm worried about being cheated on because our relationship cannot come back from that, but I'm also incredibly upset by the double standard. How can I make her see my point of view that her behavior is hypocritical? In the comments, Alex the Great says, "I don't know why it's taken you this long to consider breaking up with this chick. Just effing break up with her, good lord. This should be the only advice you need and take into effect immediately." He should have broken up with her in half the time it took to write this post. Reading this, I was thinking, this has projection from a cheater vibes, not some principled stand about opposite sex friendships while in a relationship written all over it. Then I got to the part where you said she has a history of cheating on her boyfriend and that she has no remorse, nor is she apologetic about it. Don't even mention the part where she's texting her ex behind your back and deleting texts. Dude, why are you still with her? It doesn't even sound like this is a good relationship you have. Maybe take her at her word and understand what befriending a new guy who is into her means for her, and see this as a sign that your relationship has run its natural course, and choose when and how to exit on your own terms. Serious cheater afraid of being cheated on vibes. Doing everything to keep you away from an opportunity to cheat if you were a cheater, whilst not sticking to boundaries that she's set for you. Stays in contact with her ex after he sexually propositioned her, deletes all of her messages, is spending an alarming amount of time around someone she knows is into her. She has zero respect for you and your relationship. She likely knows what she's doing is bad, but she doesn't care. Walk away. I agree. Get out of there, OP. Have some self-respect. This is not me hating on men. Absolutely not. I want what is best for you, my brother. She is a trashy, disgusting person who does not deserve you. You are much better than her in every single way. I don't know how you've lasted for 3 years in this relationship. I can think of one reason why you've stuck around, and if it's that good, then salute to you, my brother. But, the time is now. There is greener grass out there, and that green grass will treat you like a respectable human being, and not someone that deserves to be gaslit and disrespected at every possible turn. You don't need to show her that she is being hypocritical, you just need to leave. And now, on to the update. A few commenters asked me why I stayed with her for so long. The honest truth? It's because I love her. I still love her, and I can ultimately recognize that she was extremely hypocritical, emotionally abusive, and controlling. I never really believed that that was the real her, because when I met her, she had started the depot shot, and that made her bonkers. As the effects of the shot wore off, she started to mellow out. Even though it was still bad, the very, very slow progress gave me hope, and that's what I held on to. It's very easy to look at my original post and think only of bad things, because those are the only things I shared. But we had so many great moments too. I did end up breaking up with her. With that being said, this is probably going to be a longer post, so if that's all the update you want, then you can stop reading here. After I made the initial post, I read every single comment as they came in. Eventually, I ended up reading her my original post in full and all of your replies. This was, of course, an issue for her. First, it was, why would you do that? Why would you post our personal business online? And then it turned into, who cares what they think? They're just random people on the internet. We argued every day for about a week. I'll be honest, none of the advice really mattered. I didn't follow it. I love her after all, and I believed that we could work it out. We talked a lot too. I genuinely believed that she had no feelings for Jeff whatsoever. I also believed her when she told me that she told him that they would never be more than friends. Oh no! Whether I was being gullible or not, the main issue now was with the double standard of her having a close guy friend when women aren't even allowed to look at me without it being a topic of argument later. So I did what I had done the whole entire relationship. I compromised my feelings and moved on with the understanding that I would no longer be tolerating any accusations about me being unfaithful or my feelings of love and attraction towards other women. At that point, we were talking about the argument instead of actually arguing, and we got on the topic of Jess again, my secret relationship and my love for her. I told her that I wasn't going to put up with it anymore. The subject then got changed to a girl that I currently work with, Tiff. Tiff has been a subject of many, many fights between my girlfriend and I. I'm obviously in love with her because I tell my girlfriend that I can't stand her. I reassure her again and tell her that that is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. I am then told that I'm being dismissive of her feelings. I tell her, I told you that I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. If you can't drop it, then I don't want to talk to you anymore tonight. And I hung up on her. The next day I'm at work, and I texted her asking if she was still in a mood, and she says no. Then she starts texting me huge paragraph saying, it's okay if you do like Tiff. If you can just be honest with me, we can work past it together. At this point, I'm starting to get frustrated, and I get upset. I was literally begging her to drop it, and I finally said, this is the last time I'm going to tell you, I do not have feelings for Tiff, please stop, I don't want to talk to you if this is all we're going to talk about. She then has the audacity to say, I think you do, I just don't think you know you do. You're too young to know how you feel, and you probably just don't realize how you really feel. This was my breaking point. As I sat there staring at my phone, a singular comment from my last post just popped into my head. Imagine how much your mental health will improve once you dump her. And I finally just texted her that this isn't working out and that I'm breaking up with her. Like I'd anticipated, she did not take it well. I've tried to break up with my girlfriend in the past when we first started dating. She showed up to my home and threatened to off herself if I left her. Most mentally healthy girlfriend. Least insane girlfriend. Most wifeable person available in your local area, OP. Call me stupid, but that worked on me. She knows that I have attempted before. She knows that I lost my best friend ever to suicide, and I told her that if she ever threatened me with that again, I'd have her committed. She calls me on my way home from work, asking why I haven't texted or called her. She was so upset that she fell and hurt herself. I just kept telling her, I can call an ambulance for you if you'd like. And eventually I say that she's only embarrassing herself by making these threats, and if she doesn't stop, I'll call the police and then have them commit her. Then she starts telling me that I don't care about her, I don't love her, the whole 9 yards. I just keep saying, I love you so much, and this breaks my heart, but my mental health is suffering because of the way that you treat me. Finally, she just tells me that I can't break up with her. I don't have a good reason to. And I say, I am a grown adult in the United States of America. I can break up with you because the sky is blue if I so desire. You're probably wondering why I haven't just blocked her at this point, and it's because I was genuinely terrified that she would show up to my job and make a scene, or show up at my house, which leads me to the next part of the story. She keeps asking me how long I'm going to be mad at her, and being in denial about the fact that we've broken up. The next morning, I woke up really early to take my roommate to work. I changed my relationship status on Facebook to single and changed my profile picture. On my way home, she calls me again and says, "Where are you? Why aren't you home?" I freaked out, screaming at her on the phone, saying, "You better not be inside my house. Leave my house, you lunatic." Stuff like that. I even threatened to call the police on her and get a restraining order. She calls my bluff. I pulled into a parking lot where I can see her car in front of my house. She was never in my house, just in the parking lot. I texted her to tell her to leave and keep telling her that I'll call the cops. She stops answering. I didn't want to call the police, mainly because I've often seen them weaponized by the women in my life, which is another reason that I didn't want to confront her. So I called her dad instead. I told him the situation, and it turns out that he followed her to my house, as they live together, to get her to leave. I later find out that Jeff did call her the day that we broke up. He was happy that her relationship with me was over. She cursed him out and blocked his number. I just keep telling her that the fact that it even came to this just proves that she doesn't respect me. The next few weeks have been her calling and texting me to work things out. Multiple paragraph apologies, promises of change. Her family started out as understanding and supportive of me, but as of late have just been randomly calling me behind her back to ask, how long is this going to go on? Because she is incredibly depressed. Despite the fact that I've made it clear that as of right now, I have no intention of taking her back. After one phone call from her stepdad, where he started to raise his voice, I just hung up and blocked her whole family. I just keep telling her the same thing. I have no intention of getting back together with you. Maybe in the future, after you work on yourself, we can talk about it. I haven't blocked her because I do care about her. I want her in my life, just not in a romantic sense. I tell her that if she can't handle just being my friend, that I will have to stop talking to her altogether, and that just because I am her friend, I don't want her to think that that means that we are getting back together. The last time that I spoke to her a few days ago, it seems that she's finally understanding the gravity of the situation. She is taking accountability and has already met with a therapist. We've been broken up for about a month and a half. I do feel a lot better mentally. I feel kind of free. I don't have to justify anything to anybody. I also feel alone and a bit depressed at times. I feel stupid for letting someone emotionally bully me into getting rid of all my close friends. It's a mixed bag, but I'm taking the time to work on myself. In the comments, Tiger's Blood says, "Why would you want to be friends with a controlling, manipulative ex-girlfriend? You know the second any other girl comes into your life, it's going to be drama from her. Don't do it, just move on and leave her in the past." I think he still hasn't processed just how awful she was to him. She's clearly played enough games with him that he feels he needs to be in her life in some way. OP, please read this comment and block her. Whatever she does next will never be your fault, even if she ends up hurting herself. She is a fully grown adult and has a support system outside of you. You need to cut her off completely and let her work on herself independently. She'll never make the progress she needs to ever associate with you again while you are still in her life. Good luck, man. Hopefully you can talk to a therapist and work on why you stayed for so long, why you never called an ambulance, etc. Moreover, any woman worth a damn isn't going to date a man who won't cut off his manipulative ex. You need to actually close the door on her, or you haven't moved on. Nobody wants to hear, "It's complicated," from a nearly 30-year-old man. You're pulling the same shit that you did in your last post. You aren't committing to what you know you need to do, and it's going to continue to weigh on you until you do. I'm not saying this to denigrate you, because you made a big change and should be proud of that. I want you to be conscious that you are still operating in half measures. Block and move on. It baffles me that people try to end terrible relationships but stay friends with a person who has been hurting them. You can't be friends with someone who is comfortable causing you pain. He did the classic error of maybe in the future. For an abuser, that is the little crack in the armor. She will be back with him in a few months. First month will be everything he dreamed of, then it will transition to how much the breakup hurt her and how much damage he did to her, but it's okay, she forgives him. That will quickly transition into being used to manipulate and punish him further. Classic Darvo. Thank you for breaking up with that freak, OP. You deserve so much better in your life. And yeah, if we switch the roles in this situation and she's a guy and you're a girl, I'd be calling the police when he shows up on your property, man. Also, her family is so pathetic calling you about this. She's 37 years old. Imagine acting like this at that age. Jesus Christ. A man or woman acting like this and then getting their family to call you to try to get you back together? Ew. Major ew vibes. You're genuinely so much better without her in your life. Please God, the next update better be I blocked her and moved on, and she got arrested and sent to jail. That's what I want to see. Thank you for sharing the story, OP. Our next post is by user UnhappySmoke2038, titled, I stupidly let my mum borrow my car in Houston, and now she's refusing to give it back, and I'm stuck, unable to work. So my mum's car was rear-ended, so while she was waiting for insurance to decide if they were going to cover the repair or not, I decided that I'd let her use my car. We spoke on the phone and agreed that I would lend her my 2013 Toyota Corolla LE from the dates of July 23rd to August 2nd, which would be a Friday. The reason I agreed was because she told me that on Friday, she could start working from home and wouldn't need a car as desperately. But I specifically told her that I needed my car back on this specific date because I am in the middle of starting a small auto shop, which is a good 40 miles away from where I live. Stupid of me, I know, but I wanted to be a good son and help out my ma. Plus, at the time, I didn't need a car. The paperwork wouldn't be done until the 5th or 6th of August anyway. The problem is that it's now August 13th, and she's still not returned my car to me. I've called, texted, left voicemails, and the whole 9 yards. I even ordered a Lyft ride to her house in an attempt to get my car, only to find that she's locked it up in her garage and refused to answer the door when I knocked. I called the police, who showed up, knocked on the door, and told me that because I allowed her to use my car that this was a civil matter, and I'd have to do a 10-day letter of demand before I could report it stolen. The problem is that I'm a 24-year-old who just sunk $7,900 into my garage startup, and I can't afford to sit waiting for 10 days, not making money. I have 2 trusted mechanics who left their jobs to come work with me, who haven't been paid or given work yet because I can't get to my shop and get the server and shop manager system up and running. I literally only have $200 left, so I can't afford to keep taking Lyft rides, ripping and running around town searching for her. I feel like the biggest effing idiot for letting myself get put into this situation, and I just don't know what to do. I have my letter of demand drafted, but I'm worried that in the 10 days window she'll damage my car or run it into the ground. I still owe $14,000 on it, and the oil change service interval was coming up at 58,450 miles, which I know she's not going to pay to have done. All that bullshit talk about blood being thicker than water is exactly that, a load of bullshit. In the comments, Mick Gubb says, "Have you sent the letter of demand?" And OP says, "I'm afraid that if I do send it, she will destroy my car. If I don't have a car, I can't get to my shop, and I don't have the money to buy another one, and that Corolla only has 57,000 miles on it last time I looked." You have to do something. You can't just sit and let everything fall apart because of this situation. Get a credit card or borrow money and rent a car so that you can go to work. Send the 10-day demand letter. Having a pristine car that isn't in your possession that you can't use isn't helpful. This is what you need to do both legally and personally. Legally, you are required to mitigate your damages, meaning that you can't let a small situation become a big situation because you give up on everything. You got a couple of options. Option 1, you can write a letter of demand to your mother stating to return the car. In that letter, you need to let her know that she needs to return it in the same condition as she picked it up and/or dropped it off. Also putting in there that if you don't return the car by this specific date, for example August 20th, that you will file a police report to report the car stolen. You can also put in there that if she destroys the car, you can also report that to the police. With the letter of demand, if you do have to go as far as going to the police, the letter of demand is going to be worth more for them to go after. Make sure you send this letter by certified mail, on top of sending it to her directly by electronic, so that you have a paper trail going. Option 2, which is the quickest, if you don't want to go this far, go to Houston and get a tow truck to pick up the car from her place, or pick it up on your own if you have an extra key. I'd suggest that you would do this if she's at work, as she locked up the car before in the garage. This takes planning, but you have a right to pick up your car. This would probably be the quickest route. If you don't have the extra key, then you might be in a pickle, but you can get a new key made at the dealer. It'll be expensive, but you'd be better off forking over $500 to $600 than having her trash the car and pay $2,000 to $5,000 or more and save a file insurance claim. OP asks, should I set the demand return date to 10 days, or can I demand its return before 10 days? The way the cop was wording it made it sound like if I draft my demand letter asking her to return the car earlier than 10 days, my demand letter is not enforceable. Could I instead change it to 2 or 3 days? Edit. I called the Harris County non-emergency line. They said the interval has to be 10 days. Shake my head. OP, I'm going to need you to send that demand letter, and I'm going to send my regards to the death of your relationship with your mother. I'm sorry that it had to come to this, but you're going to be better off without her in your life, because that is disgusting that she just stole that from you and then ghosted you. That's not a mother, that's a leech. And now, onto the updates. I followed your guys' advice to a T, sent the demand letter, and waited. The 10 days ended yesterday, but she still wouldn't return my car. So I went downtown to the HCPD HQ to report the vehicle as stolen. I was able to get her on the phone with the sergeant, who told her that once I decide to press charges, it becomes felony possession of a stolen vehicle / unauthorized use of a vehicle, and if she's caught driving it or caught with it at her house, she will be arrested and charged. And I would not have a say in the matter. Once I sign that line, whatever happens next happens. Long story short, that lit a fire under her ass, and she left the car with my spare key in the glove box across the streets. Of course, I requested an officer to meet me at the location just in case she tried to get belligerent or in fact had damaged my vehicle, which she didn't. She's officially had my car since the 23rd of last month, but it's back in my possession now. She's put well over 2,000 miles on it and the maintenance light is on. But for now, I'm glad to be done with this, and I want to thank all of you who either gave me good advice or gave me the metaphorical slap that I needed. As for my shop and getting there, one of my mechanics lent me his old beater so that I could get to and from. So the shop is up and running, and we're already up to our neck in jobs. I've got 7 satisfied customers and 5 others waiting on parts. Glad to say that everything worked out once I took a step back and analyzed everything. In the comments, how did you ruin your relationship with your son? Well, with an 11-year-old Toyota Corolla LE. That he somehow owes $14,000 on? How the hell can you owe that much for an 11-year-old Corolla? Surely he bought it used. I don't know if this is still the case, but for a while, used cars were really expensive. And if he got himself down to the wire so bad, $200, no car access, garage 40 miles away that needed him to start on X date or he would lose it, my guess is his credit rate is terrible and his interest rate's basically usurious. Much to my chagrin, the word usurious exists. I would never talk to my mum again. I would have signed that letter. Enjoy the felony. Good to see that the Harris County PD is still an incompetent bag of dicks. There's nothing in Texas Penal Code Title 7, Chapter 3103, Crimes Against Property and Theft, that requires a demand letter on previously loaned property. only that there is consent to the loan of such property. The moment OP said she was supposed to give it back and hasn't, it becomes a crime. Damn, sorry to everyone living in Harris County in Texas that's had a Toyota Corolla stolen from them by their parents and then didn't get the immediate justice that they were looking for. My heart goes out to you specifically and no one else. But this is a very good way to end today's episode. This has been a very good story. I liked it, OP. I wish you all the best in the future with your mechanic shop. If you guys know which mechanic shop that OP works at, please go and give them some business. I wish also nothing but the worst for your mother for stealing from you and putting 2,000 miles onto your car, then making the maintenance light come on. What a dickbag of a person, huh? What a feral individual. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!